I was on outreach in Cambodia. We were in the city of Phnom Penh, and we were doing slum ministry.
And so as we pulled up, I looked and like the tuk-tuk stopped and we were in front of 2 stores. And so I was a little confused, like, where's the slums? You know, like I didn't know where we were gonna go from there.
We remember it because walking down into the slums was pretty scary. There were steps made of trash, like compacted trash and dirt. The smell was bad.
I was just really excited to see where we were going, and we saw these 3 little boys run up and they were greeting us, and so I realized, okay, we're about to go into the slums.
So we set up and we got to the spot where we knew we were going to be doing ministry, but there was no spot to be doing it. It was really just a corner of this road that was really narrow and in between a bunch of houses.
There's garbage like everywhere, and the living conditions were horrible, and I was just thinking, like, how do people live like this?
We would start with songs and worship, and then we would go into like a story. And so this particular time, we went to a Bible story of Zacchaeus.
All the kids gathered, and there were probably like 30 to 35 kids there.
Keisha was leading the kids in how to pray afterwards, and she said, okay, I'm going to lead you in prayer now. And then the translator looked at her and said, oh, they don't know how to pray.
Started saying like different things you can say to Jesus and be thankful for anything. She started translating, and she turned around and she's like, they said that they would like to ask Jesus to forgive them of their sins.
We're all kind of like, what? Because we hadn't even like talked about it or anything. We were just telling a story.
I was blown away because I'm like, how do these kids know what sin is? We prayed things out, and later on, Jenna got a text from our leader, Antonia, and we found out that all of the kids accepted Jesus, and like half of the slum was saved that day. And so that's when I knew like Jesus was right there, and he was speaking to all the kids, because it was nothing that we could teach them.
We were just wrapping up everything, and I had made eye contact with this older guy, and my first impression was like he was maybe in his 40s. I just went over and was like, hi, how's it going? He's like, good, I'm very good. I hear music. And we just started into this conversation. He told me his name was Da. He had just pretty much told me his whole life story in a matter of not that much time, maybe 10 or 15 minutes we were talking there. Yeah, he was just so curious and wondering why we were there and what we were doing. And he said that he had heard of God before, but he had never heard of Jesus. And so he was asking questions, and I love it when the Holy Spirit speaks because he's so clear. But in this moment, he was very clear, and he said, Caleb, I want you to tell him that I'm proud of him. And his mouth opened, he's like, it's hard because we're only there for such a short time and then we leave and might not ever see him again. Just let him in a little prayer right there on the street, and there's, the kids are all still surrounding, and people are still looking, and he accepted the Lord of the universe into his heart right then and there, and just because of the truth that God spoke to him in that short a time, that he's made him, and that he loves him, and that he's proud of him, and that he's not alone.